How often do you have to go to the clinic when you're doing peritoneal dialysis at home? Now, when you do hemo, you go to the clinic 3 times a week for about 6 hours. Now, once I was done training for peritoneal dialysis, I went to the clinic twice a month. Usually the first appointment was during the first week of each month, and that's when I would get my labs done. And that appointment never ever went over an hour. Really, you just go in and get your blood and you go home. Now, the second appointment was in the middle of the week, and that's when I met with the nephrologist, and you meet with the dietitian, social worker, whoever you need to talk to, and they went over your labs and changed anything that needed to happen. And that took about an hour. That was a little bit different depending on if the doctor was on time or not. So the clinic that I use is a DCI clinic. I think that's Dialysis Corporation, Inc. And it's about 20-25 minutes away from my home. And it's attached to my nephrologist's practice. Every time I had an appointment or anytime I went to the clinic, I always brought my green binder. This is what my clinic gave me. And on there I'll have all the charts. I'll give you an example here. This one's empty, but they'll give you a chart to fill out all that information. I talked about your weight, your blood pressure, what fluids you used, all that information from off your cycler. And you take that. That's the first thing that they do, is you give them that information. They either make a photocopy of it so that you can have it at home, or they'll just take it. So they'll also take your weight when you're there. They'll take your blood pressure. They'll take it with you sitting down, and they'll take your blood pressure standing up. For the labs, when they're taking your blood work, they're going to be checking your hemoglobin, they're going to check your glucose, and they're going to check the protein in your blood. They're going to also be checking your phosphorus, potassium, and your calcium. During the labs, I'd get iron put in because I am really anemic, and then I'd get a shot for my body to be able to use the iron that I was just given. Also, if you need a flu shot or any other thing like that, that will happen during the labs. I really liked my nurse who was drawing my blood. I think she was the best one that I've had. You know, I've had a lot of blood work done at different places, had my blood drawn. I'd often go to Quest, which just does blood draws, or go to the hospital to their labs. And I found that my nurse was actually the best. She was so quick. I think partially because they know you and you're there every week, and you're not just somebody that they need to get through and get to the next person. They take their time, they talk to you. I think it's more personal. So they're more careful. So it was really quick. Really quick and less painful. Maybe I was a little more relaxed too. Every couple of months or so, I would also do a 24-hour urine sample, and they'd give you a big jug for that. Now, as kidney patients, so we don't create a ton of that. So the jugs were always huge, and there was not much put into it. Also, I did a PET test. I think that's testing to see how well the dialysis fluid is working, how quickly it's able to pull extra fluid and the toxins from out of your blood. I think I just did that once, and that happened during that first week of the month during those labs. About a week later, after doing my blood work and my labs that first week of each month, I'd get a letter in the mail that had the results of all my blood work. And the dietitian had gone through and would highlight things that I needed to work on, things that had improved. And often if there was something that I needed to change right away, I'd get a phone call from her. So I have an example here of what I got in the mail. It's kind of wrinkled, But right here you can you see the little highlights there of things in there? So I needed to improve. I needed to be eating more protein, my potassium and my phosphorus. Well, my potassium was okay, and my phosphorus needed help. So I ended up taking phosphorus binders every time I'd eat. I would take that. So your appointment that is in the middle of the month is when you meet with your nephrologist. Often this appointment was a bit longer, depending on if the nephrologist was on time or not. So with my clinic and with my nephrologist practice, there was 2 nephrologists that I'd meet with, and they rotated every other month. Also, during this appointment, you'd also meet with the different members of the clinic. So I'd meet with a dietitian. She'd go again over my blood results, about my phosphorus and potassium, and ways that areas where I needed to improve, and how to get that, fix that through diet. I also got protein bars because I just didn't have enough protein in my blood. And also you lose quite a bit of protein when you're doing peritoneal dialysis. So you kind of have to up that, and then we were trying to figure out ways for me to get more of that. You also meet with a social worker, and that helps you with your insurances, or things that are going that you don't like at the clinic or want to complain about, or ways that they can improve. You would talk to the social worker about that. You'd also meet with any of the nurses that you needed to. They also take your weight and your blood pressure, again, standing and sitting. They take that every time you're there. They didn't always take my weight, but I always filled out my charts, and they're like, oh, we trust your information on that. But yes, always my blood pressure. They really do kind of decorate it for the season. So hearts for Valentine's Day, green for St. Patrick's Day, turkeys and stuff for fall and for Thanksgiving. So it gives it more of a homey feel. And it is set up like a doctor's office. So you come in and there's different examining rooms for you. Now, like the dietitian and the social worker all have their own room. And in my clinic, the examining rooms were like farther down the hall. So you'd pass that and they would always be like, hi, Bethany, hi, Bethany. It doesn't feel like a doctor's office at all, because they know you, they know your name, they say hello to you, they ask how, for me, they ask how my kids are doing, if I went on a trip, how was your trip? And they share, I can ask, like my nurse, how's your kids doing at college, and things like that. So it doesn't have that like a doctor office feel where they're just trying to get you in, they're trying to see you, send you out because they have somebody else to see. I didn't feel rushed, I didn't feel pressure, I didn't feel like they were wasting my time. They really do actually value your time. Often at a doctor's office, they're like, you need to get there early. So they don't want to wait for you, but you end up waiting for them a lot. So here, sometimes the doctor was a little bit behind, and so if he was, then the dietitian would come in or the social worker would come in and talk to you, so that they have you in and out as soon as they can. They value your time and your effort of being there. So it felt, you didn't feel like a patient, if that makes sense. Somebody come in, somebody out, we got to move on to the next person. It felt a lot more homey. It felt like they cared that you were a person. I was Bethany. I wasn't patient number 24601. So it was a reference to Les Mis. How to throw it in there. What I really liked about our clinic is they'd give you treats every time you'd go in there, especially when you'd get your labs. So on Valentine's Day, you'd get a cookie that the dietitian had made that was healthy or appropriate for somebody on dialysis. For Christmas, I got some Christmas presents. For Thanksgiving, they gave me a little Thanksgiving meal. So nowhere else when they drew blood, did I get something back, right? They take your blood and you leave. And here, you're giving them blood every couple of months. You're giving them your urine sample and you're getting something back. It felt, after, having all this experience of getting sicker and sicker and just coming in and out of appointments, it felt so nice. I felt seen. They never had to look at my chart to know my name or how I was doing. They could just look at me and talk to me as if, we were friends. Because my clinic was supporting people doing peritoneal dialysis at home, I didn't meet any other patients or people that were going to the clinic. Now, I'd see people coming in or leaving as I go to, each appointment. And I knew that they were patients there because they had the same green binder as I did. So that's something that I'd like to change or do something a little bit different, is be able to meet with other people who are dealing with kidney failure or who are on dialysis, just so you don't feel so alone. But if you want that privacy, you definitely get that privacy. I don't know if the other clinics are similar to that, because we are doing most of our dialysis. Our dialysis is happening at home. So I want to thank everybody for your support, for watching my videos. It helps motivate me to keep doing this because I really just want to help people. Thank you.